Hey, my name is Eric Little. I sing for Covenance. I play drums for F.U.A, and I play bass for Severed Head. Try and stay to myself in my house and out of trouble. You know, I'm getting older. I'm a homeowner, so you know, trying to pay the bills is not the easiest thing to do right now. Everything's skyrocketing up. I'm trying to stay out of trouble. Getting in trouble gets expensive, so you know, basically just sit at home, try and make money and music, and help all my friends out as much as I can. House a lot of my friends, you know, when they're in trouble. You know, pretty much try and help them out, take care of them.
As you said, you're a homeowner. The economic downturn for sure is affecting you.
Absolutely. I've went through about 2 foreclosures since the Fetus tour that we did with the Covenants, the 5 weeks in Canada. That when I got back, I was actually, before I left on that tour, I was going through a foreclosure process, and I had to actually work through that through a payment program. I paid about 20 grand to stop the foreclosure proceedings, stop the auction, and after I got back from tour, they had put me back into a foreclosure, so I had to pay an additional 20 grand, and so I'm still trying to struggle with that right now. Pretty much caught up right now. I've got a good house of people. I've got a lot of good people that you know, very supportive. They're all very supportive about the music too, which is really cool. I screen print, you know, t-shirts in a house. You know, we screen print t-shirts, try to, you know, sell them to our friends as cheap as possible. You know.
What's behind this economic downturn, global unrest?
I don't think any of us know anything. You know, no, I don't think there's enough knowledge spread out to really anyone. I mean, think about it, man. Between you and me, if there were trillions and trillions of dollars being passed around, you know, you think you'd be all up on your, you know, you'd be all on the up and up and as honest as possible? I don't think so. I mean, it seems a little far-fetched to me. I see people making schemes all the time for $20 here and there, you know, $100 here and there. I couldn't imagine the grand level of billions and trillions of dollars. You know, nobody knows what's going on. And anybody that thinks they do, I just doubt anybody that tells me that they know what they're talking about. Because most people I meet really don't. So there's really no way for us to find out anyway. We're all so struggled. You know, we're all so stuck in our own little private hells. You know, most of us can't even afford to be in a house, you know, living with our friends, sleeping on couches, sleeping in the streets, sleeping in our cars, bouncing from friend's house to friend's house. You know, it's pretty rough. You know, I know in Baltimore, I think on my street alone, there's probably about 14 houses that got foreclosed upon. You know, my house was going to be one of them. Luckily, you know, I managed to save it. I don't necessarily want to go into that too much, but I definitely sold my soul for that house. It's really just not that interesting. It's just, you know, it's trying to make money, you know, any way you can. You know, it's hard to make money, you know, 100% legally, so a lot of us have, you know, side things that we do, you know, try to do anything from selling t-shirts, selling drugs, selling our ass, you know, chicks standing out in the corner, you know. It's basically how the world works, you know. What are you going to do? Are you going to eat? Are you going to starve? When push comes to shove, I mean, you can't pry $1,000, $1,500 light bills out of everybody every month. It's not possible. You can't do it. But what are you going to do? You're going to sit through the whole winter and freeze to death? You can't do that either. And it's just a shame. It really is a shame. A lot of people getting fired. A lot of people losing their houses. I just don't see how people are really doing it. You know, it's kind of nice that gas prices came down to like around $2. In where I live, it's come down to about $2.25 a gallon. This time last year, I believe it was around $4.30 or something like that. Of course, you know, seems like we can only afford gas when there's an election going on. Go figure. You tell me what's up with that. I don't know. I mean, nobody knows. It's very strange. It's a hard time, and a lot of people are scared, and a lot of people are worried. A lot of people, it actually affects a lot of turnout too, you know. A lot of people can't afford to come out to shows, can't afford to buy merch. You know, it hurts the bands. It hurts the economy all around. Everybody struggles for that, you know. When the money ain't flowing, you know, it sucks.
But I mean, isn't Obama supposed to save all this and bring us all to heaven?
I guess. That's what the television wants you to believe. You know, you got basically everybody besides Fox News in Obama's pocket in America. I noticed when you go out of the countries, you know, you have different channels. You get a lot of different information. In America, a lot of people don't watch BBC. They watch CNN or they watch Fox News, which are basically, you know, it's like, you know, it turns into a big, it turns politics into a big game of like the WWF. You know, do you want to root for The Rock or Steve Austin or you know, Hulk Hogan? You know, but people actually believe that, you know, this shit is like real, and it's so fake. It's so fake. It's just a joke, you know. And they spend more time trying to divide, you know, make everybody argue on non-issues that don't matter worth a shit about anything than solving real problems. You know, it seems to me more like a distraction method than anything else. You know, anytime anything important actually hits the news, there's, you know, Fox News is following some retarded fucking white van riding down the street, some police chase. Who gives a fuck about that? Nobody gives a fuck about that. You know, it's a distraction. Who gives a fuck about Anna Nicole Smith? Fucking who the fuck she fucked and what island she died on? Fuck that fat bitch. Who cares? You know, we got real problems in the world. Not that dumb shit. I don't give a fuck if Britney Spears shaved her head. Good. Good.
How do people survive? What's the next step?
You got me, man. I mean, as far as I see it, I mean, until people really start to educate each other. I mean, the thing is, it seems like pretty hopeless because of the divide between the wealthy and the poor nowadays, and then you have such an extreme high population of people, and an extremely high percentage of those high population, which have never been seen before on this planet, are extremely poor, living in third world countries, can't take care of themselves, etc. We're also eating up our natural resources at a rate that we can't sustain. Obviously, the climate is changing, says 99.9999% of the scientists on this planet. That sucks too. We've adopted a fiat money system, inherited from Europe, started by the Rothschilds. If anybody understands the history between how paper money and fractional lending has become a problem, that leads to inflation and et cetera, we're now seeing, you know, astronomical economic figures that have never been ever seen before. A $700 billion bailout, which actually was really more like an $840 billion bailout, which is just the first step, which can't even help, you know, can't even help but buy up all of the bad debt that the banks have invested in America or whatnot. I mean, when does it end? You know, I mean, there was a time when people were striking against our government bailing out, what was it, GM, Chrysler, for $30 billion, and that was like the huge story, you know, of the century. And now it's like $840 billion just goes by. It's like, who cares? I mean, we spend about that much on a war in Iraq every year. You know, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, really all they're doing is, you know, writing a blank check to people, running the printing presses, and say, okay, I need this much money, print up a bunch of fake money that isn't worth anything, it's not backed in gold, and it'll take the economy about 2 or 3 years before it figures out, and then, you know, that is devalued. You know, you take a certain amount of money, you lend somebody $100, and then you print up another $100, you give them $200, well, now that dollar's worth 50 cents, you know, because it's only backed in the same amount of gold. But a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people, you know, and especially in America, like, education is not a priority, you know. An educated public does not seem to be in the best interest of certain people who make a killing off of people looking the other way, not understanding what's going on, because they're easy to get over on. And we all just work our lives, work a 9 to 5, just to stay alive, you know. We're all less than a person, born just for work. And we all die as a result, you know. I mean, it's going to come to a head, you know. There can't be this many people on the planet. We can't feed this many people. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to die. How? Who knows? But it's not going to be pretty. So...